Here's my favorite question I've got overall. So again, shout out to my dad for this one. I've thought about it. Part of the reason this took so long to record is I was thinking about this question a lot. Run between the tackles or a short passing game? What must a high school football team be able to do to win close games? Okay, here I was originally very much leaning towards the run game. You got to be able to run between the tackles. But here's where 5 years ago, that's for sure the answer. And I still think it has to be. But here's where my answer. Here's why my answer is changing a little bit. I'm going with the short passing game, and before all the flex bone, every old school guys in general, get after me. Just hear me out for a second, okay? I was leaning run game, but it said be able to win close games. Me personally, I feel like in high school football, if you can't run the ball at all, you're not going to be in any close games. That's kind of where that was kind of a point towards the other way. Something else I thought about, right, is especially in today's high school football, all these defensive coordinators, hey, they can play these tricks in games too, right? I feel like there's been a little bit of a shift, at least where I'm from right now. I feel like there's a lot of shifts with defensive coordinators, and it's like, hey, if you're just going to be a team that only runs the ball, I'm seeing it a lot right now. It's like, hey, we can pack the box, and that's all you have. If the only thing you have is, oh, we might throw a little 5 yard out every now and then, you're cooked. You're cooked. I'm sorry, you're cooked. Um, here's what I realized. I feel like if you can't run the ball, you don't have to be great at it, but if you can't run the ball at all, you're not going to be able to win a lot of close games against decent teams. So I feel like having the threat to throw the ball in a short passing game, whether it's just little measures or whether it is, some digs or some outs, it's like, some slant quick outs, like having some sort of threat in the passing game, a short passing game. Because if you have a threat, then they can't just load the box up. So you still might be able to run the ball. I'm not going to throw like any specific, but there's a couple teams in the area around here where it's like, hey, if you can shut down their run game by throwing 10 guys in the box, they can't move the ball on anybody. It is what it is. And it's been like that that's just my personal opinions here. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there. Because I feel like it's not even necessarily being great at the short passing game. It's having the threat to do it is, I think, really important. So then teams can't just load the box against you. And then I was also thinking, cause I was thinking about like, hey, there's a couple really good teams in like the Kansas City area right now that run the flex bone and like they're tearing up right now. But here's my other thought on a lot of those. It's like you look at some of those schools in the area, and again, I'm not going to like throw names out there, but like, hey, a lot of those teams can throw the ball. Like they got some dudes that can throw the ball a little bit. And again, they're a flex bone offense. So like they're going to, run the ball 40 times in a night, but you have to at least account for those guys in the passing game. If you don't put some dudes out there, you're going to get burnt, whether it's on a slant, whether it's on a fade, or whether it's on like, you got to at least account for that. So that's kind of where my answer changed. Again, I think if you can't run the ball, you're not going to be in many close games. So that's kind of why my answer was the way it was.